Greetings. This is TimeRider at Chapter 4. Oftentimes, I will have a couple of projects going at the same time, and sometimes they finish one right after another, which is the case today. I'm going to share a video with you of the Matchbox 3E Porsche 911 Turbo, which was the last number 3 officially released by Lesney. They released it in brown, then silver, then green, and then red. The casting had a much longer life though, because it continued well into the post-Lesney era. And I'm pretty sure that the one I have is a post-Lesney Matchbox. I received this casting from one of my early subscribers, Dan Windshield, who lives in Wisconsin, which probably means he's a Green Bay Packers fan, and I'll have to overlook that. It only came in super fast, and this one looks like I feel most Saturday mornings. Rode hard and put away wet. But maybe that was part of what attracted me about it, because I really wanted to do something special with it. I could do without the yellow window and of course the wonderful Lesney trailer hook. But be that as it may, I'm going to get to work on it and hopefully do something different. You can see that this thing has had a rough go of it. The windshield is fairly chipped up. There's a large corroded area that covers from the top of the passenger door up across the roof. It's been painted with some kind of an enamel paint is my suspicion. The wheels have lost all their luster. But I thought, sometimes when you have a long way to go, you can accomplish a lot. And that's what I'm going to try to do with this here tonight. Now, whenever I'm going to rework a model, especially when I'm going to do a custom, as is the case here, I always do some searching around on the internet. And I ran across this picture of a lovely black 911 Turbo. And that was the muse. So I am going to try to recreate this black Porsche with this dingy, messed up little car. I've never worked on a Superfast before. So I had to take a look at it, and fortunately it looks like you take them apart the same way. This one had opening doors and that wonderful trailer hitch. I don't know what to do about those wheels right off though, and I don't really care for that brown interior. But anyway, I'll figure it out as I go along. Let's get started. So I start with basic principles, drilling out the posts, which I assume are the same as the posts on the regular wheels Matchbox. I noticed when I was doing this too that the axles looked pretty corroded. Those wheels are weird though. I was trying to figure out what to do about them, because I suppose I could paint the center silver, try to bring them back to life that way. I wish for everyone to note too that I am no longer putting my finger underneath the model. I'm either using a bottle of paint, a jar of paint, or I'm using a wooden dowel. Now my thumb is still in proximity, but I'm not putting it under the model anymore anyway. So here I am drilling out the two posts, getting ready to tap for screws. The way my camera is set up, it's like I have to hit the play button twice if the camera's gone to sleep, and sometimes I think I'm recording and I'm not recording, and that was the case here. So I figured, well, I'll take a picture of the model with the button screws in it, then everybody will know that I tapped out the holes, as if I would do anything else anyway. I had absolutely no idea what to expect from paint removal. this thing had been painted after it was painted by the manufacturer. So I'm actually taking off a couple of layers of paint here. And I wasn't really sure how easily it was going to come off. I know there's a big tampo on the hood, and I've never had to remove one of those before. But, whoa, wait a minute, I'm in the right video? Yeah, actually, as I said, I was doing a couple projects at the same time. So there's my refrigerator truck chassis sitting there. But actually, what I'm scrubbing the paint off of here is the Porsche. And my big fat purple hand got in the way. But you can kind of see it in there every now and again. And I actually wound up having to do it twice because the top layer came off and revealed the layer underneath with the tampo. That's how I knew actually which one of these I had, because there was a big Porsche logo on the hood, and it was the only one that I was able to find a picture of on the internet. Sometimes I start scraping right away because with the warm water it makes the paint really soft. The casting actually reminded me of a Hot Wheels in that it was fairly thick and fairly heavy. And when I did that yellow Corvette, I had somebody make the comment that one of the reasons these castings are heavier is it helps them go faster. And being as Matchbox, of course, was trying to compete with Hot Wheels, they must have adopted the same practice of making heavier castings so the cars would go faster. I don't think that they ever did compete really well with Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels just had a real niche in the market, and I'm guessing that there were probably certain patents that were enforced that prevented Matchbox from duplicating the axle structure of the Hot Wheel. But here I am with my soft bristled brush and my rotary tool, just cleaning off the remnants of the paint, which was actually pretty hard to get off. So sorry, I'm kind of drifting off of the screen. It was a nice casting, though. I really liked it. I felt that there was enough clearance in the doors that I could prime and paint the model with the doors on. So I stuck a screw to the roof and just laid on some Tamiya. Since I'm painting black, I went with the light gray primer. As always, turning it around, trying to get all the angles, the wheel wells and everything. This was a really fun model to do. Sometimes I felt kind of guilty because it's a super fast, and I felt like I was being a deviant, but I've done a Hot Wheels, and I actually did a dinky Rolls Royce that I'm going to do a video on someday. So I'm on Amazon one day, and of course Amazon is always recommending ways for me to spend money. And I saw this paint, and it just looked like a really good deal. So I thought, what the heck, I ordered it, and I've actually had it for a while, and I've been waiting for a project to use it on. And this seemed like a good enough project to use it on. Well, the packaging was certainly nice enough. And at just about $40 for these 12 cans, jars rather, that's about just under $3.50 a jar for 100 milliliter. That's a large Tamiya that I usually pay about $6 for. So to me, it looks like this is a heck of a deal. I guess it really just depends on how well it works. The paint wasn't liquid, it was a gel, and I've seen some other restoration guys use gelatinous paint before, so I know that it's out there. I've never seen anybody use this particular brand. But yeah, so I just got myself a cup and scooped out a bunch of gel. Kind of tapped her down into the bottom. That's thinner that I make myself. That's basically water, alcohol, and glycerin. Mostly water. And I mixed it up. Figured, what the heck, I got nothing to lose with this. Wanted to make a little bit more. I wasn't sure if this was gonna go further or less further, but you would think that being a gel like that, 100 milliliters of gel, you'd think it'd go much further than the Tamiya liquids. So I loaded up the airbrush and gave it a shot. I was really happy with it almost immediately because the coverage is really good and it lays on really nice. It's very smooth paint. I was really, really impressed. It is listed as being good for use with metals, woods, plastics, metals, just about everything under the sun. I didn't even do a tack coat. I just painted it. It was going on that well that I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to paint the thing. I had pretty much already decided that I was just going to do away with these wheels. But I've never taken them off before off a Superfast. So don't laugh and feel free to comment below. But I really mangled them trying to get them off. And honestly, what I wanted to do was preserve the little, I don't know what you call it. It's like a retention piece in the center of the chassis that holds the axle in place, because the wheels that I was going to replace it with do not spin on the axle. So I needed the axles to still spin. So yeah, I'm really mangling this pretty good. Eventually, I was able to get them all off, but it was an interesting exercise. Feel free to make fun of me about this. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. There I am, I'm thinking. It's like, holy smokes, how am I going to get these off of here? There's got to be a way. You know, and I'm kind of past the point of no return here. It's not like I can change my mind and say, no, I'm just going to keep these after all because this is just too much trouble. I mean, I got the thing. It's gone. I'm committed. I'm all in. I burned the ships. And they're not hard plastic like a Hot Wheel. They're kind of a rubbery consistency. But I finally was able to get my nipper in there. And boom, success. I got one axle out. See, and here's the deal. I need the axle to be able to go into that little like retention tube in the center of the chassis. Because the wheels that I'm putting on are going onto the end of that axle. So just to refresh you, the look I was going for was a chrome ring on the outside and a black mag center. And I had purchased these wheels from Greenlight for another project, and they gave me 4 sets. And these particular mags had a tire on it that had a red line like the Hot Wheels used to have. And I didn't want the red line, so I took the tires off, and on the other side they were all black. And then what I had to do is I had to go in and paint the center of each of these mag wheels. And these were actually Dodge. It was a Mopar set that I purchased. And I'll put a link down below. But what I was trying to do was create that look of black in the center, but still spiked, and chrome around the outside. So now I needed to do some detail work because I really wanted this to look nice when I got done. So using some just standard Tamiya silver paint, I don't remember the number right offhand, I'm sure that you all can figure it out. And a fine brush, I went and painted the headlights. I was a little disappointed that there weren't like cutaways for the turn signals, because I would have done those too. But I have a hard enough time with this when I do have outside lines that I can use as a guide. And the back end gave me nothing but trouble. So I was hunched over, and it was nearly impossible for me to get any good footage of it. So those of you that have followed me for a while know that I've had my challenges with clear coat. And I didn't want to wreck this, so I figured I would just use the floor polish. And I'm watching David Hyde one day, and I don't know if you know who he is. He does dinky restoration. And he's applying the floor wax with a brush. And it's self-leveling. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to ruin the paint, and I'm afraid if I put aerosol clear coat on it that it might eat the paint. And after I did all that work on the back and the detailing and everything, I figured this stuff's pretty safe. So I applied it, ironically, with a brush. And I don't know how many coats I wound up putting on it all in, but it was quite a few. And I was not at all displeased with how it turned out. It also gums up my air gun, or airbrush rather, when I run it through the airbrush. So I really like this solution, and I may yet use it again. And I don't know if you remember, but the windshield on this was just a mess. So I actually started with like 800 grit sandpaper, then did 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 2,500. There might have even been 2,000 in there. And I sanded it to get it as smooth as I could. Then I buffed it with some Novus polish. And then I finished the whole thing off with the Pledge Revive It floor polish that I used on the rest of the model. So first of all, thanks again, Dan Winchell, for sending me the casting. It was certainly a diamond in the rough. A sad little thing with its scratched up yellow windshield and chips and odd paint job and tow hook, which I did cut off, by the way. But here's how it looked in the beginning. I didn't record the assembly. I don't care. Chew me out if you want me to. I just didn't do it. And my new turntables came today, so let's take a look at how it turned out. Here you go, folks. Matchbox 3E. Porsche 911 Turbo in black. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Share if you choose. I got another project that's going to be done pretty soon. I think you'll like that too. It's another real sexy model. This is TimeRider at Chapter 4, and I'll leave the light on for you. Y'all have a good night.